Hello everyone, welcome back to English Wisdom Daily, where you learn English through motivational stories inspired by famous people. Today's lesson is about understanding fast English, a challenge almost every English learner has faced, but very few people know how to overcome. Have you ever watched an English video and understood almost everything when the subtitles were on? But the moment you turned them off, it felt like the speaker suddenly started talking twice as fast. Or maybe someone asked you a simple question in English, and while you were still trying to understand the first sentence, they had already moved on to the next one. If you've ever experienced this, you're not alone. Let's start with the biggest misunderstanding. Most learners think they can't understand fast English because they don't know enough vocabulary or grammar. That seems reasonable, but it's usually not the real problem. The real problem is what your brain does after it hears English. For many learners, listening is actually a two-step process. First, you hear an English word. Then your brain immediately searches for the meaning in your own language. Only after finding the translation do you finally understand what was said. That process feels automatic because you've been doing it for years. The problem is that it takes time. That's why listening can feel so frustrating. It's not because your ears aren't working. It's because your brain is doing an extra job that fluent speakers no longer do. People who speak English fluently don't translate every sentence into another language. They hear an idea, understand the idea, and move on to the next one. Their brain recognizes patterns instead of processing one word at a time. And that's the first idea I want you to remember today. The goal isn't to translate faster. The goal is to understand English without translating in the first place. 4 steps I share to you today, not for understanding every single word, but for learning, instead, to move with the rhythm of the language itself. These are not abstract ideas you file away and forget. They are things you can start doing tonight, in 15 minutes, before you sleep. If you follow them, week after week, quietly, something inside you will shift. This video is 30 minutes. I know that feels long, in a world that wants everything in 15 seconds. But if you stay with me until the end, I promise you this. You will listen to fast English differently tonight than you did this morning. Let's begin with the first step. I don't chase every word. I chase the rhythm. Most learners, when they hear fast English, freeze the moment they hear one word they don't understand. Their mind gets stuck, like a stone in the middle of a river, blocking the flow. While they are trying to figure out that one word, the rest of the sentence keeps moving. Then another sentence comes, and another, until everything is gone, leaving them feeling like they understood nothing at all. Think about a drummer. A good drummer does not count every beat in their head. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they never do so. Instead, they feel the patterns, the rhythm. They know where the music is going before the next beat comes. Once their mind gets enough practice, they no longer need to think about every beat. They simply play it, naturally, just like breathing. Language carries the same kind of rhythm. Every spoken language rises and falls in a pattern. Some words are strong and clear, others are soft and quick. Some sounds are long, while others are so fast that they seem to disappear. Native speakers do not pronounce every word the same way. They follow the rhythm of the language, just like a drummer follows the beat. That is why you sometimes think you missed a word, but in many cases, it is only a small word, like to, of, or and. These words are not meant to stand out. They help connect the sentence and keep the rhythm flowing. The most important meaning usually comes from the key words, not the small connecting words. Here is how you can practice this, starting today. First, choose a short audio clip, about 10 to 15 seconds long. It can be a podcast, a movie, or any recording of a native speaker. Play it once, without stopping. Don't worry about understanding every word. Just listen to the rhythm. Then play it again, and speak at the same time as the speaker. Try to copy the speed, the pauses, and the pronunciation. This method is called shadowing. You are not translating while you do this. You are not stopping to check the grammar. Just keep speaking with the audio until the clip ends. The more you practice, the more naturally your brain will begin to follow the rhythm of spoken English. The next time you hear a word you don't understand, don't stop. Keep listening. Say this to yourself. I don't chase every word. I follow the rhythm. Repeat it whenever you feel like pausing the video to look up a word, because that feeling is just an old habit. Your brain wants to stop and understand everything before moving on. But real listening doesn't work that way. The more you keep going, the easier it becomes to understand the next sentence, and then the next one. Secondly, my mind speaks English. It does not translate English. The first step helped you stop chasing every single word. Now let's go one step deeper. Earlier, we talked about the habit of translating every English word into your own language. It happens so quickly that you hardly notice it. Think about driving a car. Imagine changing lanes every few seconds. Left, right, left, right. You never stay in one lane long enough to move forward smoothly. Listening while translating is very similar. Every time you switch from English to your own language and then back to English again, your brain loses a little time. That delay may seem small, but in a real conversation, it is enough to make you fall behind. Instead of following the speaker, you are busy changing lanes inside your own mind. What we aim to do here is not to translate faster. The goal is to stop translating. Train your brain to connect English directly with meaning. When you hear the word coffee, don't look for the word in your own language. Picture a hot cup of coffee. Smell it. Imagine holding it in your hands. Let the English word connect directly to the picture, not to another word. If someone says, "The little boy is running after his dog," don't translate each word one by one. Just see the scene in your mind. A boy, a dog. They are running through a park. Your brain understands pictures much faster than translations. At first, this will feel strange and so difficult. I know it. Your brain has spent years translating everything. But once you try to skip that extra step, you build a new habit. Every time you do it, you strengthen that habit. Little by little, English stops feeling like a code you have to solve. The discomfort you might feel throughout this journey is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It's a sign that your brain is slowly learning a new way to understand English. The next time you catch yourself translating, pause for a second and remind yourself, my mind understands English. It doesn't translate English. Say it before every listening practice. Make it your small promise before you press play, until understanding English will start to feel more natural to your brain. Third step. Train your brain to hear blocks, not letters. Do you remember the first time you learned English? For most of people, the proxies is quite the same. You learned letter by letter, then word by word, then the whole sentence. That is the right way to start, but it is not the way English is spoken in real life. Native speakers don't say one word, then another, then another. They connect words into small groups, called chunks or blocks. Instead of hearing 5 separate words, your brain hears one complete idea. For example, listen to this sentence. What do you want to do? On paper, it has 5 words. But when a native speaker says it naturally, it sounds like one smooth block. If your brain is waiting to hear 5 clear words, you will probably miss all 5. Think about reading this sentence. I love learning English. What will you read it? You don't read one letter at a time like I-L-O-V-E. Your eyes see the whole word, and your brain understands it instantly. Listening works the same way. Your ears need to learn to hear groups of words instead of chasing every single one. Fast English feels difficult because the speaker is not speaking too fast, but because your brain is simply looking in the wrong place. It is searching for separate words, while native speakers are giving you complete phrases. Here's a simple exercise you can try today. It's very simple, just only takes 5 minutes. First, choose a short sentence, about 5 to 8 words long. Pick a sentence from a podcast, a movie, or a YouTube video. Step 1. Listen to the sentence 3 times without stopping. Don't write anything. Don't pause the audio. Just focus on the rhythm and the flow. Step 2. Read the transcript while listening. Use a pencil to draw a slash where you think the speaker naturally groups the words together. Then compare it with the way the speaker actually says the sentence. This will teach you how native speakers often group words together and get familiar with it. Step 3. Play the sentence again and repeat each group out loud. Don't worry if your pronunciation isn't perfect. Your goal is to copy the rhythm, not every sound. Repeat it 5 times before moving to the next sentence. After a few weeks, your brain will stop hearing separate words. It will start hearing complete ideas. And that is when fast English begins to slow down. Last step, small doses every day beat one big push. Or easier to say, it's practicing a little every day. This may be the simplest step, but it is also the most important. Many people believe they need a long study session to improve their English. They study for 3 or 4 hours on Saturday, then stop for the rest of the week. A few days later, they have forgotten most of what they learned. Think about a drop of water falling on a rock. One drop changes nothing, but thousands of drops, day after day, slowly change the shape of the rock. Not because the water is strong, but because it never stops. Learning English works the same way. Small practice, repeated every day, is more powerful than one long study session. So don't tell yourself, I need 2 hours to study. Tell yourself, I have 15 minutes today. Choose one short piece of audio each day, a song, a podcast clip, or a few lines from a TV show you enjoy. Spend just 15 minutes with it. Shadow it by speaking at the same time as the speaker. Listen for the rhythm, not every single word. Keep thinking in English instead of translating into your own language. Listen to the sentence as one whole phrase, not as separate words. Then, the next day, do the same thing again with a new audio clip. The change may not feel big after one day, and sometimes you may feel like you are not improving at all. That's normal. But after 6 weeks of doing this every day, you will be surprised by how much easier fast English feels. Your ears will understand more, and listening will feel much more natural than before. Now let's look at these 4 steps one more time. First, follow the rhythm, not every word. Second, think in English, not in translation. Third, hear phrases, not separate words. Fourth, practice every day, not just once in a while. 4 steps, no more, no less. And behind all of them is one simple truth. You can't force yourself to become fluent overnight. Fluency grows little by little, through honest practice every day. Like a plant, it doesn't grow faster just because you keep looking at it. It grows because you give it water, sunlight, and time. Your English grows the same way. Every small practice helps it become stronger, even if you can't see the change right away. You may be wondering, right now, which of these 4 steps matters most? I understand the question, but I want you to let it go, gently, because these 4 steps were never meant to compete with each other. They were meant to work together, like 4 legs holding up the same table. Remove one, and the whole thing falls down. Chase rhythm without ever letting go of translation, and you will still be 1 step behind. Stop translating without learning to hear whole blocks of sound, and the words will still feel scattered. Do everything correctly for 1 single day, and then disappear for a month, and the stone will stay exactly as hard as it was before you began. Let me tell you about someone who lived exactly what I've just described to you. His name is Henry. He is 29 years old, from a small town in France, and for several years he worked as a customer support agent for a large international company. Henry had studied English since he was a small child. He could read English contracts without ever reaching for a dictionary. He could write emails so polished they almost sounded like a native speaker had written them. On paper, in writing, Henry was completely fluent, but every single time the phone rang on his desk, something inside Henry would quietly tighten. A customer calling from London, speaking quickly, frustrated about a delayed order, words rushing together with no patience left for silence or hesitation. And Henry, who could write a flawless paragraph of English without thinking twice, would freeze, his heart pounding in his chest, and say the same tired sentence he always said, "Can you repeat, please?" Sometimes twice in one call, sometimes 3 times. He would hang up the phone feeling smaller than before, wondering quietly how, after so many years of studying, he still felt like a complete beginner the moment a real human being spoke to him at real speed. One evening, exhausted after another difficult and embarrassing call, Henry decided to try something different, almost out of desperation. He found a 15-minute podcast about football, a subject he genuinely loved, and instead of writing down every single word he didn't understand, the way he always used to, he simply shadowed it, speaking along out loud, matching its rhythm, letting the words he didn't recognize pass by without stopping to chase them. It felt deeply uncomfortable at first. It felt, honestly, a little foolish, talking out loud to his phone, completely alone in his quiet kitchen. The first 2 weeks were genuinely hard. Henry still lost the thread constantly, still caught himself translating in his head, still felt that old switch flipping on and off, again and again. There were nights he seriously wanted to quit, nights he told himself that some people are simply not built for fast listening, that maybe this was just who he was destined to be forever. But he kept going anyway. 15 minutes, most nights, even on the nights he genuinely didn't feel like it. By the 4th week, something shifted quietly inside him, without any announcement, without any dramatic moment. Henry noticed, almost by accident, that he was no longer translating the football commentary in his head at all. He was simply understanding it directly, the way he understood his own native language, without that familiar internal delay slowing everything down. By the 6th week, a customer called in, speaking fast, genuinely upset, her words tumbling rapidly over one another, and Henry did not freeze this time. He did not ask her to repeat herself even once. He understood the shape and rhythm of her frustration before she had even finished her first full sentence, and he responded calmly, clearly, as though it were the most natural thing in the world. A few months later, Henry's manager quietly pulled him aside, not to correct him this time, but to ask him to train the newest members of the support team, the ones just starting out, the ones who still froze on every call the exact way Henry once did. Henry, who had once dreaded the sound of his own phone ringing, was now the one calmly teaching others how to listen without fear. What strikes me most about Henry's story is not the 6 weeks. It is the second week, the hard week, the week where nothing felt different yet, and quitting felt so reasonable. Almost everyone who changes their listening ability passes through that exact week, the week where the drops still feel too fast, the switch still flickers, the wall still sounds like scattered sand. The people who succeed are not the ones who skip that week. They are simply the ones who keep showing up for 15 minutes anyway, even when it feels like nothing is working. His story is not unusual, not really. It is simply what happens, quietly and predictably, when someone finally stops chasing individual drops of water with tired, outstretched hands, and instead learns, patiently, to read the whole wave. Now I want to ask something small of you, right now, before you close this video and move on with the rest of your evening. I want you to do one small thing. One thing that takes less than 60 seconds of your time. Say one sentence out loud, right now, in English, at whatever speed feels natural and honest to you. I don't chase every word, I chase the rhythm. Say it out loud, not silently in your head. Out loud, even if you are completely alone right now, even if it feels a little strange to hear your own voice say it. If you have no audio ready nearby, no podcast open, no video waiting, simply rewind this video 30 seconds and shadow my own voice, speaking along with me, matching my rhythm, letting your mouth move together with mine. This is not a big commitment I'm asking of you. It is not a new course to buy, not a new app to download, not a new elaborate plan you need to organize before you can begin. It is 60 honest seconds, tonight, the very first drop of water landing on the stone. And if you do this one small thing, right now, you have already begun the 4 steps, whether you fully realize it yet or not. Let's go back to that busy train station for one last moment. At the beginning of this video, you were standing there, overwhelmed by the noise, trying to follow every voice that passed by. It felt impossible, but now you know something you didn't know before. Fluent listeners aren't hearing more than you are. They're simply listening differently. They don't chase every word. They recognize patterns. They expect what's coming next. They focus on meaning, not perfection. And that's exactly the skill you're building, one listening session at a time. So the next time English feels too fast, remember this station. You don't have to understand every conversation happening around you. You only need to understand the one that matters. Little by little, your ears will do what they were always capable of doing. They'll stop chasing words and start understanding ideas. I promised you 30 minutes ago that you would listen to fast English differently tonight than you did this morning. I believe, quietly, that you already are. 4 steps, 15 honest minutes a day, and a wave that no longer frightens you the way it once did, because you have finally, truly, learned how to swim. So before you go, let's walk through the 4 steps one more time, together. Step 1. Chase the rhythm. Not every single word. Let shadowing become your daily habit. Step 2. Stop translating in your head and let your mind begin to think directly in English. Step 3. Stop hearing separate letters and start hearing whole blocks of sound, the way native speakers actually glue their words together. And Step 4. Choose small, honest doses every single day. instead of waiting for one big push that never comes. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, my friends. If this video helped you even a little, I'd love for you to try that 60-second exercise tonight. Say the sentence out loud, shadow along. Take that very first step. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and speak soon.